All right, welcome back. So I just recorded the whole first one, and yeah, the microphone wasn't on, but I don't have time to record it again. So you can go through and look at my examples. The main thing I talked about is how important it is to label. It's super important. That's one of the main things that we're learning in this section. So number one for our examples of naming lines and planes, we're going to use the figure to name each of the following. So for A, we're going to name a line that contains point W. Okay, so if we look here, we have point W, and I want a line that contains point W. So there are lots of options and ways to label this. So I could say line N if I wanted to just label it that way. I could also pick two letters because I just need those 2 points. And so I could say WV. I could say VW. I could say WX. I could say XW. We could say WX. Oh, already got that guy. Just kidding. I'm learning how to use this iPad, so let's see. WVW, WV, WX, XW. So we could say XY, YX. You could say VY. You could say YB. There's lots of options, okay? Any combination of two of those points on that line. Okay? For B, we're going to say a plane containing point X. Okay? So let's use a different color. We got our point X here. And I'm going to say it's in this plane, right? So I'm going to say plane P. Another way, remember, we need 3 points. If I ever see anybody that says plane XY, it's not correct. Okay, we need 3 variables. Okay, so we're going to say X, Y, and Z. Okay, and I'm going to say X, Y, and Z because I have 3, if you remember from our definition up here, is made up of 3 points that they are not on the same line. Okay, so I have X, Y, and then Z, not on the same line, right? X and Y are, but Z is not. Okay, and then I have plane, I don't know, you could say Z, V, W if you wanted to. Okay, you could say plane W, Z, X, right? As long as you have 3 points, okay, that are not on the same line. So technically for these, we could say all can be reordered. Gives you a total of 36 3-letter names just for this one plane. Okay, and then our third one for C is going to be a line that contains point T. So let's pick a different color. A line containing point T. So I go up here, I have T, and I could say right away, I could say line R. Okay, and then I just need to look at 2 of the points. So our other options is that we can say TX for Texas, or you can say XT for extra tall. Okay, and the reason being, both of those points are on that line R. Okay, all right, moving on to example number 2, drawing geometric figures. So for this one, we're going to draw and label a figure for each relationship. Lines A, B, and CD intersect at E. Okay, so we're going to say, starting with A, we'll use this turquoise, -2, 4. A. B is going to be 0, -2. For C, -3, 0. And then D, 3, 3. Okay, so lines A, B. Oh, let me label that guy. D. So we have AB, so here, and then we'll do another color, because apparently we're just bringing lots of colors into the mix. Let's try that again. I missed the point C. All right, better. Okay. Now in this case, because I have this nice iPad that like straightens it out for me, I could see where they intersect. But it says lines A, B, and CD intersect at E, so I'm going to label this point E. On a coordinate plane, point F is coplanar with these points. Okay, point F is coplanar with these points, but not collinear with AB or CD. Okay, so we got to make sure we have point F on there. So let's say point F can be anywhere on the plane not touching either line. Okay, so you could say, I don't know, you could go way down here and be like F. So fantastic. So just an example reading, okay, our directions, figuring out how to label it. We could also say F is here. We could have said F was here. We could have said F was here. So those are all examples of F being coplanar but not collinear. So if I look at B, it says QR intersects plane T at point S. QR, so we're going to draw ourselves a plane. Okay, we'll label it T, because it says plane T, and it says QR. So, get my three-dimensional skills here. So it's kind of like it's poking through. Okay, and we're going to say QR intersects the plane at point S. So this is going to be our point S, and remember, we need our 2 points on our line. So I'm going to say QR. You could have also put the Q up top and the R down below as well. Okay. All right, moving on to C. All right, we have points J and K, and they're going to be collinear. So I'm going to have J, -4, 2. It's going to be J. K is going to be 3, 2. Just kidding. And because they are collinear, it means that they should be on the same line. All right, let's go to D. D is line P lies in plane N and contains point L. Okay, so I'm going to give myself another plane. Let's make it a blue plane this time. Okay, we're going to label it N. And it says line P lies in plane N and contains point L. Okay, so I'm going to say maybe I have this here. And this is going to be my line. We'll change the color. We'll label it P. So it lies in plane N and contains point L. Point L is on that line. Okay? All right, going to 3. Interpret the following in regards to the figure below. How many planes are in this figure? Okay, so let's start labeling them. So we're going to have plane X starting off. So we'll start there. Plane X. What do you guys think? So we have a lot, right? So let's just start naming them. So if I look at the next one, let's start up front. So if I wanted to use like a highlighter so you can see which one I'm talking about, let's start with this one up front here. I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but we're going to label this one H, D, G. Okay? And then we're also going to say that we have plane if we look at the one on the bottom. Okay? We would say, all right, what are 3 letters? J, H, and F. Sure. Okay, on the bottom of that surface. Now, if I look at that, if I label that on the bottom of the surface, is that different than plane X? No, right? So, technically, I don't need to label that one because I already have plane X. But if I looked at another one, maybe like this face here, I could say plane J, D, E. And there's, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then I have this last one, 6. We would say that we have 6 planes. Now, it didn't necessarily ask us to label all of them, but just to show, give us an example. Next one, name 3 points that are collinear. Okay, collinear. We want ones that are on the same line, right? They gotta be 3 points. So if I picked any of these ones on the bottom, they're not collinear, so the one that I see here is gonna be J, K, and D. Now, the accurate way to label that would be point J, point K, and point D. Okay. Next one, name the intersection of plane HDG with plane X. So I'm going to get rid of this guy. Maybe. Okay, we got intersection of plane HDG with plane X. Okay, so to help us with it, let's make this a little thinner. Right here is where it intersects plane X, right? And so we're going to say HG. And because it's a segment, I'm not going to put arrows. I'm going to say segment HG. Okay, going to D, are points E, D, F, and G coplanar. So let's use another color. So we got E, let's make it a little thicker. E, D, G, and F. Are they on the same plane? Are they coplanar? So we would say no. Points E, F, and G so maybe on the bottom, E, F, and G are coplanar, but point D is not. Or you could say points E, F, and D are coplanar, but G is not. Okay? So not all 4 of them are not coplanar. And then the last one, we're going to say, at what point or in what line do planes JDH, JDE, and EDF intersect? Okay, so I'm going to erase some of this stuff on here. So I got JDH, I got JDE, and I got EDF. Okay, at what point or in what line do planes JDE, JDE, and EDF intersect? And so we say, okay, well, there's not a line that they all intersect. It's like 3 sides of that, right? That pentagonal prism that we have. And so we're going to say that point D is going to be the point in which they intersect. So that's the end of our notes section for 1.1. If needed, you could try the closed captions for the vocab. Hopefully it works a little bit better.